I always believed that life was a long, straight road, a path you followed because everyone expected you to, not because you understood where it led. For the longest time, I walked that road silently, carrying the expectations of my parents, the comparisons of society, and my own confusion about who I was supposed to become. I never imagined that one person, one unlikely mentor, would step into my life and change that path forever. My name is Arham, and this is the story of the man who saved me from becoming a shadow in my own life. I grew up in a small neighborhood where success was measured by two things: grades and job titles. If you studied engineering, medicine, or business, you were celebrated. If you pursued anything else, people either pitied you or mocked your decisions. From childhood, I was pushed into the world of numbers. My father had worked his entire life at an engineering plant, earning just enough to support us. He believed that engineering was the safest, most respectable choice for my future, and because he loved me, he wanted the best for me. So I listened. All through high school, I was an average student. Not brilliant, but not terrible. I passed exams, memorized formulas, and nodded whenever teachers talked about career choices. Inside, I felt absolutely nothing. While my classmates dreamed of becoming pilots, surgeons, or CEOs, my mind remained blank. I had no dream, no interest, no spark. But I also had no courage to admit that. When university applications opened, my father sat beside me, pointing at engineering programs. "This one is good," he said. "Mechanical engineering has a strong future, good salary, good life." I nodded, even though the words "good life" felt painfully distant. I applied. I got in, and for the first 6 months, I lived like a ghost. Every morning I woke up with a heavy chest. I walked to class like a prisoner being escorted to a courtroom. The lectures felt like a foreign language. While others scribbled notes with excitement, I stared at the whiteboard as if it were mocking me. I felt stupid, lost, and painfully out of place, but I kept pretending. Pretending to understand, pretending to be interested, pretending to be okay. The pressure grew silently. My grades began slipping. I failed quizzes. Professors frowned at my assignments. My classmates whispered, "He won't last long." And I started believing them. The breaking point came during an exam. I stared at the paper, unable to answer even the simplest question. For the first time in my life, I felt the weight of complete and utter failure. My vision blurred, my heart raced, and I walked out of the room before the exam even ended. Outside, in the empty hallway, I leaned against the wall and let the tears fall. I didn't know where I was headed anymore. And that was the moment he found me, Professor Adil. He was known in the university as the strict one, the type who rarely smiled, rarely socialized, and never tolerated laziness. Students feared him. But on that day, when he saw me slumped in the hallway, eyes red, he didn't scold me. He sat down beside me quietly, like someone who understood that silence was sometimes kinder than words. After a long moment, he asked, "Why did you walk out?" I couldn't answer anything," I whispered. "I don't think I belong here." He studied me, his eyes sharp but unexpectedly gentle. "Do you know why you feel that way?" "Because I'm useless, because I'm a disappointment, because I'm a failure." 1,000 answers rushed into my mind, but none made it to my lips. Instead, I shook my head. He sighed, not with frustration, but with something close to understanding. "Come to my office after your break," he said, standing up. "We need to talk." I had no idea that this conversation would change the course of my life. When I walked into his office later that day, I expected a lecture about responsibility or hard work. I expected judgment, but he didn't open with criticism. He began with questions. "What do you want to do in life?" he asked. It was such a simple question, yet it crushed me, because I didn't know, and admitting that felt like confessing a crime. I don't know," I said, ashamed. He leaned back in his chair. "Then why are you studying engineering?" I swallowed hard. "Because my family expects it. Because it's a respectable career. Because everyone else is doing it." He nodded slowly. And because you were never told that your life can have a different meaning than what others choose for you. That sentence hit me harder than any exam failure. He motioned for me to sit, and for the next hour, he told me things no one had ever said before. "You are not stupid, Aram," he said. "You're just misplaced. You're trying to grow in soil that wasn't meant for you." I listened, stunned. No teacher had ever spoken to me like this. He pointed at my notebook, which I had brought out of habit. "Show me your notes from your classes." I hesitated. "They're not good." "That's fine," he said. "Let me see." I opened the notebook, embarrassed by the messy scribbles and unclear diagrams. He flipped through the pages quietly, then closed it. "You're not interested," he concluded, "and that's okay. But I want you to be honest with yourself. What are you interested in?" I hesitated again, but for the first time, someone actually cared to ask. I like writing," I said finally. "Stories, articles, anything that lets me express myself." The moment I said it aloud, I felt light, as if a truth I had hidden for years finally saw daylight. Professor Adil smiled slightly. "Good. Then write something for me." I blinked. "You mean now?" "Yes," he said. "Right now. Anything. A paragraph, a page, something that comes from you." I picked up my pen with shaking hands. My mind was blank, but after a moment, words began to flow. Sentences poured out faster than I could control them. When I finished, I pushed the paper toward him nervously. He read it silently. Then he looked at me with an expression I had never seen from a teacher before. "You have talent," he said. "Real talent. And it is being wasted in a classroom where your heart doesn't exist." My throat tightened. A strange mix of hope and fear washed over me. "But," I whispered, "what about my family? My father will never accept it." He clasped his hands. "Families want success, but they confuse success with labels. If you become excellent at something, anything, they will be proud of you. But you must first decide what that something is." I sat there speechless. He continued, "I will help you. If you are willing to work hard and take control of your life, I will guide you." A mentor, a guide, a lifeline. I had never had one before, and so began the journey that would reshape everything. Every evening after classes, I met Professor Adil in his office. He gave me writing exercises, storytelling techniques, and articles to study. He corrected my work with the precision of a sculptor shaping stone. "Your words are honest," he said one day, "but they need discipline. Emotion must be crafted, not spilled." It was the hardest training I had ever undergone, but for the first time, I enjoyed the struggle. For the first time, I wasn't forcing myself to learn. I was hungry for it. Meanwhile, my engineering grades continued to slip. Rumors spread that I was failing. Some classmates laughed behind my back. Others said I was wasting my life. But I stopped caring. I was finally discovering who I was. Weeks turned into months. My writing improved. My confidence grew. I published articles on small blogs. One article went viral unexpectedly. Messages poured in from strangers saying my words touched their hearts. I showed it to Professor Adil. He read the comments and smiled proudly. "See? This is the soil where you belong." But the biggest challenge was still ahead, telling my family. The fear of disappointing my father kept me awake at night, but hiding the truth felt worse. One evening, after dinner, I finally gathered the courage. "Baba," I said softly, "I need to talk to you." He looked at me, concerned. "Is everything all right?" "No," I said honestly. "I'm not happy in engineering. I don't think it's right for me." His face darkened. "Arham, do you realize how much effort I've put into your studies? This is your future." "I know," I said, my voice trembling, "and I'm grateful. But Baba, I'm drowning there. I feel lost. I can't pretend anymore." He fell silent. I could see disappointment in his eyes, and it broke me. But then I remembered something Professor Adil said. Speak your truth with respect, not fear. So I continued. I've found something I'm good at, something that makes me feel alive. Writing. His eyes widened. Writing? That won't give you a future. It can, I said. If I work hard, if I learn, if I grow. And I'm willing to do that. We argued for hours. There were raised voices, hurt words, and heavy silences. For a moment, I thought I had lost him. But the next morning, I woke up to find him sitting by the window, holding a printed copy of my viral article. He had read it, multiple times. When he looked at me, his eyes were softer. You wrote this? He asked. Yes. He nodded slowly. It's good. Very good. A single tear escaped his eye, something I had only seen twice in my life. If this is what you want, he said, then pursue it. But promise me one thing. Be the best at it. I hugged him, overwhelmed with relief. And so I left engineering, not out of failure, but out of self-discovery. With the help of Professor Adil, I enrolled in a writing and media studies program. I wrote every day, stories, articles, scripts, speeches. The words flowed like they had been waiting their entire life to escape. My mentor pushed me harder than anyone else ever had. Good, he would say, but you can do better. He believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. Years passed. I graduated at the top of my class. I became a writer for a national magazine. Later, I wrote a book, a coming-of-age story inspired by my own journey. And when the book gained recognition, the first person I called wasn't my family or friends. It was him. When he picked up the phone, I said, "Sir, I couldn't have done it without you." He replied, "Arham, I didn't change your path. I just showed you the direction. You walked it." Today, as I share this story, I think back to that moment in the hallway, the moment I felt like a failure, a disappointment, a lost cause. I realize now that sometimes life sends us the right person at the exact moment we are about to fall apart. A mentor is not someone who tells you what to do, but someone who shows you who you can become. And Professor Adil did exactly that. He changed my career. He changed my future. He changed my life. But most importantly, he changed me. And for that, I will forever be grateful.